Hello, everybody. Welcome to another week with Pastor Sunday. And this week, I'm going to be talking about a topic that I'm not very sure many people will be excited about. I'm going to be talking about pain. Now, pain is not a pleasant topic by any means, but it could be pleasant if we learn and understand pain. Why pains? Why do we have pains? Reasons for pain and what to do with pain, how to deal with pains. All right? Reasons for pains and how to deal with them. Why do we have pain? Why does God allow pain? Why should pain even be present in our lives at all? Is that a mistake of nature, or there is a purpose for pain as well? Of course, there is a purpose for pain. There is a purpose for pain. And there are reasons also for pain. And I'm going to be talking about the reasons for pain. And I don't know what pain you are going through right now. And I don't know what pain you are experiencing. But whatsoever pain you are going through right now and you are experiencing, there are ways you can deal with them if you get to know better the nature of pain. Pains are not always bad. Some pains are good for us. Some pains are actually a signal of God's blessing and God's favor to us. For example, I used to be negative, quite negative about pain. I used to think negatively about pain, and I used to think that every pain is negative. Until I discovered that, if you are having a headache, that might not really be bad, because it's a signal to you that there is a deficiency in your system. Maybe you've not had enough rest. Maybe you've not been eating right, or you've not had enough the right intake of vitamins. Maybe there's something missing in your chemistry. So it's just telling you about that there is a need to slow down and deal with it. It's just like if you are having issues with your car, and your car begins to, let's say the motor of the car the engine of the car begins to make some noise, and you stop to fix it, and then you discover that, wow, something was very faulty there. But if you had traveled on with that car without fixing it, you could have run into an accident. Maybe the brake would have failed you on the highway. It will have destroyed you. The same with pain. If you don't pay attention to that headache, and if you don't fix it, it could lead to something more complicated. It could lead to, to a breakdown, nervous breakdown, or to cancer, or something very disastrous. So pain could be a blessing in disguise. God bless. Hello, everybody. We're talking this week about pain. Well, pain. Why pain? Well, because pain is a reality of our lives. Pain is a reality of our lives. We all encounter pain on a daily basis. We all have to. There's no way we can escape pain. The pain will come one way or the other. We will all have to deal with pain. So if pain is something that we all have to deal with, well, sooner or later, we have to talk about it. Somebody needs to talk about it. And what the aspect of pain that I want to talk about today is the fact that some pains are avoidable. Maybe most pains are avoidable. And I think the most reason, or the most common reason or factor in pain, or the most popular reason why people experience pain and why people go through pain, is because of ignorance. Ignorance. What you don't know is causing you a pain somewhere. Not necessarily, but most of the time it does. For example, I came from Africa not thinking much about water. because in Africa, everybody drinks water. And so I was drinking water for all my life. I grew up in Africa and I was there till I was 19. It was only late in my life, maybe when I was about 15 or teenage years, that I began to drink Coca-Cola, juice, but not much of it when I was growing up. So water, drinking water was a way of life. But when I left Africa and I came to Europe, I saw a whole variety of drinks apart from water. And you know what I thought? I thought, my God, I've lived in this poverty all my life drinking water. Why should I drink water now when I have a better choice? So I began to drink all forms of juice. Now, to make the long story short, I was drinking juice, cola, all kind of beverages, but water for the next 7 years of my life when I was a student in the university here. You know what that led to? That led to the fact that I was killing myself without knowing. I never knew that water was not just what you drink because you didn't have anything else to drink. It was not just one of beverages you choose to drink or you don't want to drink. You don't drink it. Water is something you drink as a necessity. It's a necessity for life. Well, when my system began to break down, I went to the doctor. And the doctor told me, you know what? Thank God you came. When they examined me, they said, because you had not been drinking water, you are killing yourself. Even though I was praying, God never told me. I was supposed to know it. What I didn't know was killing me. What you don't know today might be killing you. Ignorance is the source of pain. So the fact that I was going through that pain in my body, it was not because Satan was powerful or God didn't care. Ignorance was causing me pain. Bless you. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another day. This week is a very, very sensitive week because this week we are talking about pain. And pain is something that not too many people like to hear too much about. But you see, I'm going to talk about it from the perspective that if you know these things, it's going to really help you to deal with pain. So we are not just talking about the source of pain, but we are also going to talk about how to deal with them, how to avoid pain. Because most of the pains that we go through in life are actually avoidable. They are avoidable. So today I'm going to talk about another source of pain to most people. Why do we experience pain? That there are some pains we can avoid. And where are these pains coming from? So there is a particular pain. This particular factor of pain that I'm talking about today is very common. Most of the pain that we go through is associated with this factor, with this reason. And the reason is that most people who go through pain are actually going through pain because of their decisions. Of course, nobody decides to go through pain, but our wrong decisions lead to pain eventually. Wrong decisions will lead to pain. Wrong decisions will lead to pain. So many people are experiencing pain in their lives because they have taken a wrong decision. For example, a girl that begins to date at the tender age of 14 and gets pregnant at 15 and has to go through the excruciating pain of being chased, being removed from the class, of shame, of rejection, of being abandoned by that boy, of having to carry pregnancy where your system is not fully developed for it, and of the consequences even after giving birth to the child or going through abortion. All that sequence of pain could have been avoided if that girl had made the right decision about not going out and not dating when you are 14 or 15. A real matured, well brought up child knows when you are a student, you are studying, you don't be distracted about sexual things or sexual relationship. So our pains mostly are caused by our decisions. Thank you. Hello everybody, welcome to another day when we are talking about a very sensitive topic. This topic is not the most pleasant one, but we need to learn about things that are not pleasant sometimes so that we'll be able to avoid them. So today we're talking about pain, reasons for pain, and how to deal with pain. Reasons for pain and how to deal with them. So today I'm going to talk about one other reason why we experience pain, and which is also widespread reason, and most people will blame their pain on other people, which is true. It's a reality that most of our pain, or a lot of our pains, are connected to other people. But at the end of the day, it is not wise just for you to sit down there and blame somebody else for all your pain and say, well, he's to blame, well, this person is to blame, or that is to blame, the country is to blame, the city is to blame, the government is to blame, whatever, everything is to blame but you. But even when your pain is caused by other people, most of the time it is still your fault, or at least you have some responsibility to take, or you have some fault, even in that pain that comes from other people. Because most of the time, when other people cause us pain or inflict pain upon us, it is only because we permitted it. It is only because we permitted it. So how do we normally permit other people to bring pain into our lives? We permit pain through other people in our lives when we trust the wrong people. When we trust the wrong people. When we trust wrong people. Most of the women that I know in this world that are suffering or that are in pain or in anguish of disappointment, of failures, and most of the men that are suffering because of the pain that was brought into their lives by somebody they had put their trust in. So most women are experiencing pain of disappointment because the man that they chose to love had jilted them. But you decided to love this man. You decided to marry that man. Or some people were not married to a person, but they allowed somebody into their lives and the relationship didn't work out. But you allowed that person into your life. Businessmen suffer because they trusted the wrong partner. So pain is mostly connected to our trusting in the wrong people. Choose who you trust, and you can avoid a little bit more pain in your life. God bless. Hello, everybody. We continue to talk about the pains that we encounter in our lives as human beings. Pain is part of the human experience. Unfortunately, we all have to go through it. We have to experience it. We all experience pain one way or the other. And one of the pains that we experience that is very common is the pain of loss. The pain of loss. The pain of loss when we lose something that is quite precious to us or that we value. So pain of loss could be caused by tragedy. It could be caused by disasters. It could be caused by difficult situations. So there are some circumstances like that when those things happen. And they are mainly or mostly things that you could hardly avoid. Most of these pain, losses that come to our lives, we cannot avoid, we couldn't control them. So what do? Well, there comes a time in your life when you have to just say, well, God, give me the strength to change what I can change. But the things that I cannot change, That is the time we need the grace of God to be able to humble ourselves before God and say, well, I don't have everything fixed. God sometimes wants us to come to the end of ourselves. And sometimes it is necessary for us to come to the end of ourselves. If there are no circumstances or situations like that that will bring us to our knees before ourselves, you know what we could become? We could begin to worship ourselves. We could begin to think that it's all about us. We could begin to think that, well, we've got it all fixed. There is no God. There is no need for God. And that we begin to think that we're the Lord of the universe. Even now, when we have a lot of overwhelming situations that are, that we cannot deal with many people still think that they are the king of the universe. Many people still think that everything depends on them. But your pain should drive you to God. Your pain, your losses should drive you to discover the greatness of the Almighty and to seek for wisdom for why God will allow that to happen and how God could use that pain and that loss to make you a better person. God bless. Hello, everybody. We keep on talking today about the human experience, about the reality of human existence on the earth. And one of these realities is that we have to face it. We meet and we have to deal with pain, sometimes on a daily basis, or most of the time on a regular basis. So, how do we deal with pains? And what are the sources of these pains? Well, one common source of pain, and that we actually normally bring upon ourselves, is that we often cause our pains by choosing a sinful lifestyle. When we choose to sin, there are consequences to sin. I'm sorry. There are consequences. There are consequences. When we decide to neglect God, to avoid Him, there are consequences to that. When we decide to do the things that are obviously written in the Bible, for example, it says, honor your father and mother. When we neglect God's instructions, the consequences is pain. It's always painful. When the Bible says don't have idols, don't have other images besides Him, and you say, oh, it's my life, I choose what to do, what I want to do. There are consequences of having idols and other images besides God. When you choose to live in adulterous relationship, when you've got your own spouse, and then you're having several other women besides, well, it's very painful. The consequences of those choices are painful. And when you steal and you are caught, well, there are consequences. And when you do other things that the Bible clearly or God clearly prohibits us doing, when you envy, yeah, when you give a false witness, when you break the law of the body, when you don't take enough time out to rest, there are consequences. There are consequences. So, but what do we do when we bring pain upon ourselves through our wrong decisions to sin or to live a sinful lifestyle? Well, there is a point when we're supposed to go to God, repent of our sins, and reject that lifestyle and refuse that lifestyle and run away from that lifestyle. You must change your lifestyle to line up with the values and the Word of God. And then your pain will be minimized. God bless. Hello, everybody. Today is the last day, unfortunately, to deal with this topic. But still, I think you've got enough suggestions and ideas on where pains come from and how to deal with them this week. But there's still one more point that I would like to mention, and because we have talked about the inavailability and unavoidability of pain. So, if pain is unavoidable and basically indispensable in the life of everybody, then we have to deal with it. That the reality of pain is there. So to avoid, the only thing we could do with pain is to face lesser pain, or what we call voluntary pain, so that we could avoid bigger pains. What I'm saying is there are two kinds of pains. There is a pain there is the pain of self-denial, or what we call voluntary pain. And this pain of self-denial is the fact that you refuse to do some things in obedience to divine instructions, or when you choose to discipline yourself by going through voluntary pain so that you could avoid a bigger pain in the future. For example, when you are a student and you decide to discipline yourself and study, but other guys are maybe running about with women and they are partying, but when you voluntarily decide not to go to party, that is painful a little bit. When you voluntarily refuse to smoke and drink and go about with ladies, that is a little bit painful, but that is the voluntary pain that is minimal. It's like 2 grams of pain in comparison to if you fail your exams because you deny yourself, you refuse to go through voluntary pain, and so you just do anything you want to do, and as a result you fail your exams, you didn't finish your school, and all through your life you have to work at a low pay job, and be at the very bottom of the ladder, being a gatekeeper or janitor or guardian or guard in a place where people who studied with you are now the bosses. That is an example of going through voluntary pain, which is like 2 grams, which could be measured by 2 grams, and as opposed to the pain of regret, which is the second level of pain, the pain of regret, which is like 2 tons of pain. That is the things that you did not do when you are supposed to do it because you didn't want to go through the minimum pain, now gives you the maximum pain when life itself disciplines you and life itself inflicts pain on you. That is the pain of regret. It's much more harder, it's much more harsher than the first pain. So my advice to you, let's pay the price of 2 grams of voluntary pain rather than facing the reality and the unavoidability of the 2 tons of pains of regret. Blessings.